everyone, Mo Rosati here, and I'm happy to share with you my very first raw food recipe video. And the reason I'm making this video is because when I'm talking to people about some of the food that I eat here on a daily basis, a lot of the superfoods and super herbs and tonic herbs and the other staples that I include in my diet every day, they often have a very confused look on their face, and they get the impression that it's kind of complicated. But the whole purpose of this video is to show you that in 10 minutes you can make yourself a ridiculous amount of a ridiculously nutritional meal with quite a few ingredients and with zero cooking kitchen skills whatsoever, and you don't even need any expensive appliances. There's no need for a $500–600 Vitamix blender. I mean, those are great for liquid-based elixirs, but this is more of a porridge thing. The consistency, it's sort of like a milkshake sort of thing when it's in. And the great thing is that in the end it's going to taste like chocolate. And so when I give this meal, when I let other people try this meal for the first time, they're just amazed because they think they're eating dessert, when in actuality they're eating probably the most nutritious meal they've ever had in their life. And the only appliance that we will need for this recipe is a $20 coffee grinder. And try and stay away from the really cheap coffee grinders, because when you're grinding the cacao nibs, they're extremely hard and they're very hard on the grinder, and the cheap ones you'll go through them, one a month type of thing. So spend at least $20–30 on a coffee grinder, and this will last you a long time. Okay, so what I will do is I will break this down into 3 separate steps for you. And step 1 is we're going to make a base, a liquid sort of base. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some raw honey, and we're going to get some raw coconut oil, about a tablespoon each, put it into a ceramic bowl, and put your stove on the lowest setting you can, 2 or whatever it is, or simmer. And the idea here is you just want to warm up the honey and the coconut oil so that it gets into a liquid state. And then once it's in the liquid state, we're going to actually adding kelp and maca powder, and we're going to add some whole bean vanilla powder, and we're going to add some shou and some faux tea, and the heat and the liquefied honey and coconut oil will start to make a base, and that's going to blend together very nicely. And then step 2 is we're going to add, we're going to get the raw cacao beans and raw cacao nibs, Goji berries and organic coconut flakes, and we're going to put them all in the grinder at the same time, and we're going to grind them up as finely as we can. The finer the better. And what you're doing at that stage is you're basically increasing the surface area of those 3 ingredients, and they're going to be able to mix well with everything else. And then in step 3, we're going to add another layer of superfoods and super herbs and tonic herbs and other staple foods that I have on a daily basis. And then we're going to mix it all together, and you're going to see how easy this is. And like I said, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And you will be amazed, if you actually have the chance to try this for yourself, how incredibly delicious it is to eat a ridiculous amount of nutrition in a single meal with literally no effort at all. And if you have this on a daily basis, you'll kind of get a feeling of what this whole raw food, superfood, and super herbs buzz is all about, because this food, as far as this food is concerned, it really doesn't get any better than this. And hopefully you'll enjoy this video and get a chance to try this food for yourself. Okay, so this is the first step. This is basically where we're going to start off with some raw honey, and we're going to start off with some coconut oil. And like I said, we're going to basically, again, this is raw honey. This isn't honey that's been cooked. It hasn't been processed by any sort of heat. And what we did right here is we just put the stove on the very lowest setting, which is 2 in my case, or just above simmer. And what you want to do is you want to get about a tablespoon of honey, get that in there, and about a tablespoon of coconut oil, something like that, and basically get them out of that solid state and start warming them up to liquefy them. And so what I'll do now is I'll just kind of mix this up around and start this video again when this stuff is liquefied. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes right now, and what happens is the coconut oil starts melting very quickly, but the honey takes a little bit longer to actually mix, to actually melt down. So anyways, right now it's about as liquid as it's going to get. I don't want to apply too much heat. And again, to touch this, it's actually just barely warm, but warm enough to actually start melting it. Anyways, just keep mixing that, and when you're happy that it's actually liquefied enough, then we can start adding some good stuff. Now here, basically, this is these are kelp tablets, and this is a good way of getting kelp into your diet because I'm not really fond of the taste of that. But anyways, you can get the kelp tablet, and what you can do is you basically crush it up and basically start turning it back into a powder. So it's not going to do much good for you in a tablet form, but once it's actually powdered down, you can actually start using it. And now what we're going to start putting in some magic. This is actually faux tea, as it's called in North America. It's also known as shou, and this is a top 4 Chinese tonic herb that is extremely famous for a lot of reasons. It's a kidney and tonic herb that works on those 2 organs, and as a result, it ends up tonifying your blood, and one of the good side effects is that it actually changes the color of your hair back to its original color. So we'll put about a teaspoon of that in there. And now we got some whole vanilla bean powder. This is another extract. This is extremely rich in flavor. And I'm just going to put about teaspoon, half a teaspoon in, whatever. Not really too worried about amounts of ingredients. It's just as long as they're in there. And here we have a 6x Macca powder. 6x meaning that it's 6 times concentration of normal. So it would take about 6 pounds of normal Macca to make 1 pound of 6x Macca, and again about a tablespoon in there. And that completes our base at this point. So that's about it for phase 1. And all you want to do basically is you just want to mix them together at this stage and make sure that they're all coming together nicely. At this point you can shut off your stove because you definitely don't want to provide excessive heat, and the coconut oil and the honey is now liquefied. So as you can see, it's already starting to look like something you want to put in your mouth. And we haven't even really added any of the cacao or anything. Again, this is just coconut oil, raw honey, kelp powder, maca, shou or faux tea, and vanilla bean extract. And there it goes. Nice, and that's exactly what you want at that stage. So at this point I'm going to take it off the burner. Okay, so that's step 1 completed. Now we're going to move on to step 2. And again, I got my coffee grinder in here, and basically what I do is I just put enough in here to actually fill up the blades with cacao. Cacao is going to be the main ingredient. Again, these are the nibs. These nibs are very hard. I got a teaspoon here. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more for good luck. Okay, so that's about a good 5 teaspoons worth of cacao nibs that you see there. And now we have our goji berries. Okay. 1, 2, 3 sounds about right. And over here, now we have the raw organic shredded coconut, and this is another superfood as well. These are all basically every ingredient in this recipe is a superfood, so you can't really go wrong. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we got about 4 or 5 teaspoons of cacao. We got about 3 teaspoons of goji berries and about 3 teaspoons of coconut oil. I mean, it's not coconut oil, shredded coconut flakes. And at this point we're actually going to grind them down, and I'm going to grind them down to as powdery as I can, as fine a powder as I can get.